Hey YouTube, it's CM Maritime History here back again in another video, and today this will be the final video of the USS New Jersey series. Out of all three videos, this will be the final. As part of President Ronald Reagan's and Navy Secretary John Lammon's effort to create a 600-ship Navy, New Jersey was selected for reactivation in the spring of 1981, and she was sold from Puget Sound Naval Shipyard to Long Beach Naval Shipyard at the end of July 1981 for modernization and reactivation. At the time of the reactivation, the Navy envisioned using New Jersey and her sister ship Iowa to meet sustained global requirements and relieve the strain on the Navy created by an increase in U.S. commitments to the Indian Ocean and Caribbean Sea regions. During this time, the Navy developed several proposals to update their battleships to carry cruise missiles and anti-ship missiles, as well as point defense system mounts. Preliminary modernization schemes included the removal of 4 of the 10 5-inch gun mounts on New Jersey to make room for the armored box launchers that would be required to carry and launch the BGM-109 Tomahawk missiles. If you want to actually see what one of those looks like, I recommend you watch Under Siege. That's a movie about the USS Missouri. It's got Steven Seagal and Tommy Lee Jones. It's really good. At one point, the NATO Sea Sparrow was to be installed in the reactivated battleships. However, it was determined that the system could not withstand the overpressure effect when firing the main battery. On December 28, 1982, New Jersey was formally recommissioned at Long Beach, California, her new home port. It wasn't really her new home port, it was her home port previously, before she was last decommissioned. The recommissioning of the USS New Jersey marked the return of the world's last battleships after a 13-year absence from the world's oceans. New Jersey's modernization was unique in that she was to be the only reactivated Iowa-class battleship to lose a gun turret. At the time the Navy made the announcement, plans were underway to remove New Jersey's number 3 16-inch gun turret located after the superstructure. So that would be back here. I assume this picture was taken afterwards, so you wouldn't be able to see it now. In its place, the Navy planned to install one of two systems: a vertical launching missile magazine, which would have enabled New Jersey to carry an additional 48 Tomahawk or Harpoon missiles, or using the space generated by a removed gun turret for aircraft-related updates centering on VTOL or VSTOL type aircraft. These ideas were ultimately dropped, and New Jersey retained her number 3 gun turret during her 1980s career. Over the next several months, the ship was upgraded with the most advanced weaponry available. Among the new weapon systems installed were 4 Mark 141 quad cell launchers for 16 RGM-84 Harpoon anti-ship missiles, 8 armored box launcher mounts for 32 BGM-109 Tomahawk missiles, and a quartet of the United States Navy's Phalanx close-air weapon system: Gatling guns for defense against enemy anti-ship missiles and enemy aircraft. New Jersey also received 8 RQ-2 Pioneer unmanned aerial vehicles, which are remotely controlled drones that replaced the helicopters previously used to spot for her 9 16-inch 50 Mark 7 guns. Also included in her modernization were upgrades to radar and fire control systems for her guns and missiles, and improved electronic warfare capabilities. Because New Jersey had been recalled for service in the Vietnam War, her modernization differed from the for a number of reasons. When reactivated in 1967, New Jersey had her 20mm Olericon and 40mm Bofors anti-aircraft guns removed, and received improved electronic warfare capabilities. This alteration helped reduce the time it took to get New Jersey recommissioned, since she was not in her World War II format. The only major physical alteration in New Jersey involved the removal of 4 of her 10 5-inch gun mounts to make room for the armored box launchers. In addition to saving time, this also made New Jersey cheaper to reactivate, since the cost to modernize the battleship only included the addition of missile and gun system mounts, electronic warfare suites, and improved radar and gun spotter technology. Since the Tomahawk missile system had not yet been adopted for use during New Jersey's original update, the Navy announced plans to divert assets from 2 of their Screw-Ons-class destroyers to install necessary Tomahawk launchers. Similarly, assets were diverted from 2 Farragut-class guided missile destroyers to allow for the installation of Harpoon launchers on the USS New Jersey. The Lebanese Civil War. 1993 to 1994. In 1993, a bloody civil war was raging in Lebanon. In an effort to stop the violence in the region, a multinational force of peacekeepers composed largely of U.S., Italian, and French armed service members was created and sent to the region to attempt the restoration of order. As part of the multinational force, the United States mobilized an expeditionary force composed of members of the United States Marine Corps and elements of the United States Sixth Fleet, which operated out of the Mediterranean Sea. On April 18, 1983, a van carrying a 2,000-pound load of explosives slammed into the U.S. Embassy in West Beirut, killing 63 people. In August 1983, Israel withdrew its defense forces from the Chuf district, southwest of Beirut, thus removing the buffer between the Druze and the Christian militias and triggering another round of brutal fighting. In August 1983, militiamen began to bombard the United States Marines positioned near Beirut International Airport with mortar and rocket fire as the Lebanese army fought Druze and Shia forces in the southern suburbs of Beirut. If you don't know what Shia is, it is a branch of Muslim belief. There's Sunni and Shia. On August, I don't know what the Druze is. I assume it's another religious belief. On August 29th, 1983, that is what it seems most of them are fighting over there nowadays. Religious beliefs and ground. Especially in Jerusalem, where they have been for thousands of years. Anyway, on August 28th, 1983, 2 Marines were killed and 14 wounded, and in the ensuing months, the Marines came under almost daily attack from artillery, mortar, rocket, and small arms fire. After this attack, the Marines began returning fire. The Reagan administration decided to dispatch New Jersey, a decision the Marines cheered. On September 16, 1983, Druze forces massed on the threshold of Souk el-Gharb, a village defended by the Lebanese army. Souk el-Gharb was a village with strategic importance. The militias coming up from the south had to traverse Souk el-Gharb to get to the Beirut-Alay road. Moreover, Souk el-Gharb controlled a ridge that overlooked Ba'abda Yarze, which was the location of the Ministry of Defense, and East Beirut. From that ridge, the militia gunners could shoot directly downhill at those locations of artillery. The United States Navy warships shelled Druze positions and helped the Lebanese army hold the town of Souk el-Gharb until a ceasefire was declared on September 25th, on which day the battleship New Jersey arrived on the scene. The arrival of New Jersey was one of several factors contributing to a reduction in the number of attacks on the Marines. On November the 28th, until after October 23rd, 1993, until after the until after the October 23rd, 1993 Beirut barracks bombing, the U.S. government announced that New Jersey would be retained off Beirut, although her crew would be rotated. On December the 14th, New Jersey fired 11 projectiles from her 16-inch guns at hostile positions inland of Beirut. These are the first 16-inch shells, fired for effect anywhere in the world since New Jersey ended her time on the gun line of Vietnam in 1969. This shelling was a response to attacks on U.S. reconnaissance planes by Syrian Druze anti-aircraft batteries. Carrying on a tradition he had begun in World War II of spreading Christmas of U.S. forces overseas, Bob Hope and his troupe of entertainers gave a show on board the New Jersey on December 24, 1983. 400 Marines stationed in Beirut attended the show. On February 8, 1984, New Jersey fired almost 300 shells at Druze and Shiite positions, that's the other branch, in the positions in the hills overlooking Beirut. Some 30 of these massive projectiles rained down on a Syrian command post in the Bekaa Valley east of Beirut, killing the general commanding Syrian forces in Lebanon and several other senior officers. This is the heaviest shore bombardment since the Korean War. Although New Jersey performed her job expertly during the intervention in Lebanon, some have criticized the decision to have New Jersey shell Druze and Syrian forces. Members of this camp allege that this action forced a shift in the previously neutral U.S. forces by convincing local Lebanese Muslims that the United States would take the Christian side. New Jersey's shells have killed hundreds of people, mostly Shiites and Druze. In his memoir, General Colin Powell, at the time an assistant to Caspar Weinberger, noted that when the shells started falling on the Shiites, they assumed the American referee had taken sides. The accuracy of New Jersey's guns was also called into question. An investigation An investigation into New Jersey's gunfire effectiveness in Lebanon, led by Marine Colonel Don Price, found that many of the ship's shells had missed their targets by as much as 10,000 yards, and therefore may have inadvertently killed civilians. Tim McNulty, a correspondent for the Chicago Tribune, based in Lebanon, said, "Everybody loved the New Jersey until she fired her guns. Once she fired, it was obvious she couldn't hit anything." The inaccuracy is believed to have resulted because the ship's main gunpowder had been remixed by the Navy, under the direction of Captain Joseph Dominic Micelli at a Naval Weapons Support Center, and rebagged. Powder lots and individual production excuse me. Powder lots and individual production of power burn at different rates. Therefore, remixing the powder lots would cause the guns to fire inconsistently. The problem was apparently resolved after the Navy was able to locate additional powder supplies which had not been remixed. Post-Lebanese deployment, 1984 to 1990. And you can see here this is the New Jersey giving a 21-gun broadside, firing in both directions. You can see all the explosiveness coming out of these guns. In 1986, New Jersey began her next deployment, this time operating as part of the Pacific Fleet and as the centerpiece of her own battle group. This is the first time that New Jersey had operational control of her own group of escorts since the Korean War, and she cruised from Hawaii to Thailand in 1986, freeing up U.S. aircraft carriers for their missions, in the process becoming the only major U.S. naval presence in the region from May to October. Although in command of her own battle group, New Jersey did sail with the aircraft carriers USS Ranger, CV-61, and USS Constellation, CV-64, and USS Thatch, FFG-43, all deployed in 1986. According to the classified command history for New Jersey, during her transit through the Sea of Okhotsk, is that right? On September the 27th to 28th, 1986, close passes were made by Soviet Bear and Badger bombers, a Hormone helicopter, and a May Maritime patrol airplane. A Kara-class cruiser and two Grisha 3 frigates also shadowed the U.S. ships. The maneuver, according to the command history, marked the first time a U.S. battleship had operated in the Soviet Navy's backyard. Following an overhaul at Long Beach, which lasted in 1998, New Jersey returned to the Pacific Ocean, this time operating as part of a surface action group. The battleship, operating near the coast of Korea prior to the opening of the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul, South Korea, then departed for Australia to participate in the Australian bicentennial celebrations. In August 1989, as New Jersey was ready for her last operational cruise, ship Iowa suffered a catastrophic explosion in her number 2 gun turret. So that would be this one on Iowa, the one towards the back, I think. Fallout from the incident led U.S. naval officials to freeze live-fire exercises with the guns until the investigation into the explosion was concluded. Eventually, the ban was lifted, and New Jersey was allowed to use her big guns again. New Jersey's final cruise began in 1989 as part of Pacific Exercise 89. Upon completion of the exercise, New Jersey sailed through the Indian Ocean and the Persian Gulf, in the process becoming the centerpiece of various battle groups and surface action groups. New Jersey remained in the Persian Gulf for the rest of the year, returning to the United States in February 1990. With the collapse of the Soviet Union in the early 1990s and the lack of a perceived threat against the United States came drastic cuts to the defense budget, and the high cost of maintaining battleships as part of the active fleet became uneconomical. Excuse me. And as a result, New Jersey was decommissioned for the final time at Naval Station Long Beach, California, on February 8, 1991, with the ship serving a total of 21 years, the most out of the 4 Iowas, in active service. The decision to decommission New Jersey robbed the battleship of the chance to participate in Operation Desert Storm in 1991, a military campaign to forcibly remove Iraqi invasion soldiers from Kuwait. Hostilities had commenced on or about January 15, 1991. The sister ships Missouri and Wisconsin were engaging Iraqi targets with Tomahawk missiles at the time of New Jersey's decommissioning. Following her decommissioning, New Jersey was towed to Bremerton, Washington, where she remained in reserve until struck for the Naval Vessel Register in January 1995. Section 1011 of the National Defense Authorization Act of 1996 required the United States Navy to reinstate to the Naval Vessel Register 2 of the Iowa-class battleships that had been struck by the Navy in 1995. These ships were to be maintained by the United States Navy Reserve Fleets or Mothball Fleet. The Navy was to ensure that both of the reinstated battleships were in good condition and could be reactivated for use in the Marine Corps' amphibious operations. Due to Iowa's damaged turret 2, Navy selected New Jersey in replacement of the Mothball Fleet, even though the training mechanisms on New Jersey's 16-inch guns had been welded down. The cost to fix New Jersey was considered less than the cost to fix Iowa. As a result, New Jersey and Wisconsin were reinstated to the Naval Vessel Register and placed back in the reserve fleet. New Jersey remained in the Mothball Fleet until the Strong, Firm, and National Defense Authorization Act of 1999 passed through the United States Congress on October 18, 1998. Section 10111 required the United States Secretary of the Navy to list and maintain Iowa and Wisconsin on the Naval Vessel Register, while Section 1012 required the Secretary of the Navy to strike New Jersey from the Naval Vessel Register and transfer the battleship to a not-for-profit entity in accordance with Section 7306 of Title 10 United States Code. Also, Section 10112 also required a transferee to locate the battleship in the state of New Jersey. The Navy made the switch in January 1999, and so on September 12th, New Jersey was towed by the tug Sea Victory from Bridge, Washington to Philadelphia. Excuse me. For restoration work at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard in advance of a planned donation for use as a museum. Two competing requests for the battleships were filed, one by the USS New Jersey Battleship Commission of Bayonne, New Jersey, and one by the Homeport Alliance of Camden, New Jersey. Both teams submitted plans, and after review of both plans, the Navy selected Homeport Alliance as the battleship's final resting place. Secretary of the Navy Richard Danzig made the announcement on January 20th, 2000, October 15th of that year. New Jersey arrived at her final resting place on the Camden waterfront. Shortly after arrival, New Jersey was opened to the public, officially beginning her new career as a museum ship with the name Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. Self-guided tours, guided group tours, and overnight encampments are offered on the floating museum. Overnight encampments, typically for the benefit of scouting organizations, offer the opportunity to sleep and eat in the original berths and mess decks. New Jersey has been placed on several historic registers. In 1997, while the ship was still in the mothball fleet, the New Jersey State Review Board for Historic Sites recommended it be listed in the New Jersey Register for Historic Places, contingent upon the transfer of the battleship in New Jersey waters. In 2004, the state of New Jersey officially designated the battleship as a historical place. This cleared New Jersey for placement on the National Register of Historic Places, a list to which New Jersey was officially added in 2004. In 2012, there was another non-profit, USS New Jersey Battleship Foundation Incorporated, which advocated that New Jersey should be moved to Liberty State Park. Ultimately, nothing came from that effort, and the ship remains in Camden. One of USS New Jersey's original gun barrels from 1943 to 1954 now sits on the northwest corner of the Marine Parade grounds alongside Broad Street and Intrepid Avenue. Excuse me, in Philadelphia. Another original gun barrel is located in Camden next to USS New Jersey, and the third is on display in Basking Ridge, New Jersey. A propeller is on display in front of Naval Weapons Station Earl in Colts Neck, New Jersey. So guys, this is the end of the final video of the USS New Jersey. Also, by the way, I don't know who these people are at the bottom of the screen. I just noticed them. I don't know when this picture was taken, but I do know. Sorry, battery plug fell out. But I do know they're apparently waving to the camera person, like whoever took this picture. Anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Remember to smash the like button and please subscribe. And comment down below if you have any video ideas, as this series is now over. And to be honest, I'm kind of happy for it to be over. It took a long time to record all these videos. I think about an hour total to record part 1, part 2, and part 3. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I really hope you do. I find it very informative. Have a good day. Bye.